This is CBN NewsWatch.
And thank you so much for joining us for this first edition of CBN NewsWatch for Thursday, August 22nd. I'm Ephraim Graham. We begin this hour with President Donald Trump standing by a new rule that would allow the government to detain migrant families indefinitely as their asylum claims are being processed. And Democrats and immigration advocates are pushing back. The Department of Homeland Security created the move after a federal court agreement limited how long immigrant children can be detained. It's called the Flores Agreement and requires the government generally release children after 20 days. That means migrants with children entering the U.S. usually get released while their asylum claims make their way through the courts. The White House has long claimed the Flores Agreement was too restrictive. This new rule would revise it.
No child should be a pawn in a scheme to manipulate our immigration system, which is why the new rule eliminates the incentive to exploit children as a free ticket.
Immigration advocates and Democrats, though, say not so fast.
Right now we have more than a million plus backlog in terms of the immigration courts. So if you look at that million court case backlog, how long is it going to take for a case to proceed?
With this new rule, families will be kept together and held until their day in court. Our Jenna Browder is following this story for us and joins us now from our Washington bureau with more. So, Jenna, how are they going to hold these families indefinitely? Aren't border detention centers already bursting at the seams?
They are. Illegal immigrants are coming over by the thousands. In May alone, there are around 88,000 illegal crossings. So the border, they can't hold all of these people. Yesterday, McAleenan, though, he did unveil some new plans for new detention centers, and they would include things like soccer fields, medical facilities, that kind of thing. But the big question, and it was alluded to, is how is this really very practical? It does, Ephraim, put a lot of the onus on Congress to pass a measure and get it to President Trump's desk.
So when might we see this rule take effect?
Likely not anytime soon. So it would take effect in 60 days from now, but there are a lot of people against it, and it's facing a lot of legal challenges. So we're going to have to see it probably play out in the courts for some time and take it from there.
All right, Jenna Browder following this for us from Washington. Thank you, Jenna.
Thanks.
Matt Sorens of the Christian humanitarian organization World Relief believes the government can both stop the fraud and protect the children. He says leaders must work to fix the weakness in the current asylum system.
You know, I think the most important thing we could do to really address this while still making sure we're protecting kids is to have a more functional asylum system, so that it takes, in some cases, 5 years, which we're talking about 5 years that kids would be held in a detention facility. That is unacceptable. And frankly, that's unacceptable to those with legitimate claims who should be processed more quickly and granted asylum under the law. It's also unacceptable because it could provide an incentive for people who really are not going to qualify under the law. And to be fair, most of them don't know that. Most of them are being told things by smugglers, and they don't know how U.S. asylum law works. But if we had a more functional asylum system that processed people in a matter of months on a consistent basis, then people with legitimate claims who have a well-founded fear of persecution would be protected, which is really important, including children. And those who do not have legitimate claims would learn it's not worth a dangerous trip through Mexico just to be denied.
Soren says a somewhat newer policy called metering causes more people to be rejected and turned away at the border, so more migrants are making the choice to enter illegally. China appealed to Washington Thursday to meet each other halfway and settle a trade war instead of going ahead with planned tariff hikes Beijing warned will trigger retaliation. Even though talk of trade wars and the economy has some economists and politicians saying the U.S. will suffer for President Trump's strong stand, economist Stephen Moore believes China will take the harder hit and the economy is really going to be okay.
We have almost 8 million more jobs than we have workers. We have the lowest unemployment rate in 50 years, the lowest inflation rate in 50 years, and the highest wage gains in 20 years. That doesn't sound like an economy that's doing poorly to me. In fact, that sounds like a blockbuster economy. Now, has the economy hit a few bumps in the road? Absolutely, yes. And one of those big bumps is what you were just talking about, and that the president mentioned, obviously, is this trade war with China. And I find myself in agreement with Trump that this probably is hurting the economy in the short term, but not enough to send the economy into recession. And once the trade deal gets done, the economy will really boom.
Let's talk a little bit more about that. The president is set to announce new tariffs against China, and he's defending the trade war. Who is being hurt more by this, America or China? Can you break it down for us?
Yeah, well, both countries are hurt, clearly. I mean, the trade war has hurt the United States, but it's clobbered China. The answer to your question is China's getting hurt way more than we are by this. Their economy may be the one that goes into recession. And by the way, they haven't had a recession in 30 years. They had been growing like gangbusters, but now they have factories and warehouses and docks full of merchandise they can't sell. There's a big disinvestment in China right now, which is hurting their economy. Businesses are moving out of China. They're moving to Vietnam. They're moving to India. They're moving to Singapore, other countries to avoid the tariff. So, China is getting hit hard, and hopefully they will come to their senses, the leaders in Beijing, and say, hey, let's get a deal done. And by the way, a deal on trade would vastly benefit both countries. It would benefit the United States and China. So, but we're dealing with communists. The Communist Party is back in charge in China, and I don't say that with any happiness.
What do you say to the average American? How should they prepare if there is a recession?
Well, again, there's not going to be a recession, but I wouldn't say never. But I think the odds are very small on that. Look, first of all, consumers are spending. I mean, I travel all over the country. I take flights. Every flight is completely packed with people with their kids, people with their grandparents. People are, the consumer numbers are just great. We just got new numbers from Target and Lowe's, two of our major retailers, where they had, blockbuster sales numbers. So, again, I just don't see this recession that the left is hoping for. But look, if a recession hits, I think that it would be a very temporary thing. It might be, a couple of quarters of maybe negative growth, and people should maybe not be too concerned about it. Don't panic. And I always tell investors, as the stock market falls, which it would do if we went into recession, that's the worst time to sell your stocks because you're selling low. You always want to, buy low and sell high. And sometimes people make the mistake of doing just the opposite.
The United States has imposed 25% tariffs on $250 billion of Chinese products. Beijing retaliated with its own penalties on $110 billion of goods from the United States. U.S. and Chinese negotiators are due to meet in September in Washington. NASA says America is one step closer to returning to the moon and even closer to rocketing to Mars. Abigail Robertson reports on the latest meeting for the cabinet-level U.S. Space Council, its mission of returning to the nation's attention to the skies.
3, 2, 1, ignition.
The successful launch of the Orion test spacecraft this summer is propelling NASA one step closer to a moon landing and possibly beyond.
We choose to go to the moon.
President John F. Kennedy's historic push for space exploration came well before scientists were sure it was possible.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Now, 50 years after Neil Armstrong first set foot on the moon, the U.S. plans to return.
The next man and the first woman on the moon will be American astronauts.
NASA hopes the 5-year timeline will also put Mars within reach.
Our objective will be to establish a permanent presence on the lunar surface, and from there we will develop the capabilities to journey to the red planet of Mars.
NASA Chief Jim Bridenstine says the moon will be a proving ground and potential launch pad.
It's the best place for us to live and work on another world so that we can ultimately go to Mars.
If all goes as planned, the first human mission to Mars could come as soon as 2033.
People say, why are you accelerating the mission to the moon? Well, because it accelerates our mission to Mars.
The next leap into space will require working with commercial partners. This summer, Blue Origin tested engines for its own lunar lander. And earlier this year, SpaceX successfully docked its automated Crew Dragon capsule at the International Space Station. Assembling in front of the retired space shuttle responsible for more space flights than any other spacecraft, Vice President Pence said Tuesday that American spaceflight is back.
Working with our industry leaders, before the year is out, the United States will once again send American astronauts into space on American rockets from American soil.
Although the number of asylum seekers at the southern border are down, there's a new dynamic well to tell you about. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Joan London with A Place for Mom. Over the years, we've helped thousands of families find senior care, and today's senior living communities have never been better. With amazing amenities like movie theaters, exercise rooms and swimming pools, public cafes, bars and bistros, even pet care services. And nobody understands your options like the advisors at A Place for Mom. These are local expert advisors that will partner with you to find the perfect place and determine the right level of care, whether that's just a helping hand or full-time memory care. Best of all, it's a free service. Call today, A Place for Mom. You know your family, we know senior living. Together, we'll make the right choice.
Call A Place for Mom right now to get our free ebook on financing senior care, as well as a free referral for senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-211-0452. That's 1-800-211-0452.
Are you getting the most out of your Medicare coverage? Did you know there are extra benefits available? Dental, vision, hearing, and prescription drug coverage? Make sure you're on the plan that's right for you. Many areas have plans available with $0 copays for many services and $0 deductibles. Plus, premiums may be as low as $0 a month. Call now for your free Medicare coverage review.
Please call 800-684-2716.
Are you looking for a trustworthy publishing company to publish your book?
Covenant Books is an author-friendly publisher who shares your passion and beliefs. Call us today and we'll send you a free author packet to help get you started. We provide a full range of publishing services.
Covenant sells your book and ebook online and in bookstores everywhere. Our authors love us. Just look.
Be like these authors and get your book published today.
Call 800-261-0339. That's 800-261-0339.
The number of asylum seekers or migrants seeking asylum at the southern border has been dropping off over the summer. However, reports out of South America point to a large number of people from around the world making their way north. Chuck Holton is the story.
There's a large mass of asylum seekers en route to the U.S. who come from countries much further away than Central America. And before they get to the United States, they have to first make the treacherous trek through the Darien jungle. I drove from Medellin to the city of Turbo on Colombia's western frontier to get a sense of where these migrants are coming from.
It's a long drive, about 9 hours. Not that far distance-wise, but this road is so winding, just up and down these very extreme mountains. That's just how it is.
It was dark by the time I arrived, but early the next morning I found what I was looking for: masses of African migrants at the public boat dock. Peter Ba left Cameroon in mid-June.
Passed through Istanbul, that's in Turkey. Then we stopped at Panama. Then now we came to Ecuador. So we are trying to walk now back to Panama. From Panama, that's how we go to Inter-America, which that would be more safe for us.
There's so many migrants that have showed up today that they're having to get more boats to put them in. This is the public dock in Turbo, and this boat behind me is full of migrants that are headed to a place called Capurganá. It's the last spot inside Colombia, and from there they will start their walk. Most of them have no idea what they're about to face.
I don't know. I heard it's a tough one, but I don't know. We just pray God to guide us through.
Some of those making this trek through the jungle likely will not survive. But if they do, their journey is far from over. Camps in Panama now hold as many as 10,000 migrants, and the number of those being allowed to continue north to Costa Rica are only a few hundred per week. And the harbor master here in Turbo says the numbers continue to surge.
As of yesterday, we've transported over 6,000 people of different nationalities: Congo, Cuba, Haiti, Pakistan, Syria, Eritrea, Bangladesh. It's increased a lot, especially migrants from Africa. Many of them think that when they get here to Turbo that the worst is over, but in reality, their suffering is just beginning.
And Fabricio thinks the biggest travesty is the number of children forced to make this dangerous journey.
We've seen nearly 600 of them this year alone making the crossing with their parents, many of them not even walking yet. It's really hard to watch.
Here on the Panama side of the Darien Gap, the Panamanian Border Police have picked up about 40 children in the last 12 months who've come walking out of this jungle all by themselves. Now, they didn't go in that way, but their parents died on the journey. And that leaves the government of Panama in a real quandary because in some cases, they don't even know what this kid's name is. He's too young to tell them, or even what country he comes from. And so I went and talked to the Panamanian version of Child and Family Services to find out how they're dealing with this crisis.
They arrive here in very bad health, exhausted, dehydrated, and covered with bug bites from the jungle. It's really painful for our team. We are deeply disturbed seeing children affected in this way.
Osledi Rodriguez is a border service liaison who works to reunite families who get separated on the trail. She says the children are being put in too much danger.
We've heard stories of an animal that attacked a baby and killed it out there. But when we recover lost children, we look at the border stations and, for example, recently reunited a 2-year-old with her mother after 7 days being lost.
I'm at the bus station in Medellin, Colombia, and this is one of the main stopovers for many of the migrants who are coming from overseas. One of the questions I think people have is, how are they getting here and how are they paying for it? Well, almost all of the migrants coming from Africa, Asia, and other places around the world have to go to Ecuador first because it's the only country in the Western Hemisphere, basically, that will allow them in without a visa. Then they start taking buses. It takes about a week, and they ride buses from Ecuador up through Colombia, change buses here in Medellin, and take another one up to Turbo, which is the jumping off point for the Darien Gap. As to how they're paying for it, well, many of them that I'm talking to are telling me they get the money from their friends and family in the United States. So all other things being equal, I think it's fair to say that these migrants might be desperate to get into the U.S., but they're certainly not destitute.
Omar Cáceres is one of dozens of Cuban migrants preparing to cross the Darien Gap this morning.
Dave warned me the trip is really tough, complicated, and dangerous. I'm not sure how I will make it, but I trust my family to support me and God to protect me.
From Western Colombia, I'm Chuck Holton for CBN News.
Still ahead, the faith behind the television classic Little House on the Prairie as told by a cast member herself. Stay with us.
Attention oxygen therapy users. If you've been chained to an oxygen tank, then you know they're a burden. Tanks keep you from living the life you love.
I was on oxygen tanks, and I couldn't go anywhere, do much of anything. I didn't dare go far.
It's time to reclaim your independence with an Inogen One oxygen concentrator. Inogen makes its own oxygen from the air around you, so you'll never worry about running out of oxygen again.
I wasn't going to run out of oxygen ever, and it was like freedom. I got my life back. I really love my Inogen.
The Inogen One G4 is lightweight and compact. Plus, it's battery operated, so you can have oxygen anytime, anywhere.
Oh, do I think Inogen is worth the money? You better believe it's worth every single penny of it.
Call now for your free information kit. There's no obligation. Inogen. Oxygen anytime, anywhere.
Call 1-800-469-8159. That's 1-800-469-8159. Call now for your free information kit.
If you're over the age of 50 and considering buying an annuity in the next 60 days, I have some important news for you. Don't buy an annuity until you understand the pros and cons of annuities. A free book to help you maximize your retirement income from television host and 3-time author Josh Melberg has been released. This book reveals little-known truths about annuity strategies in simple-to-understand terms. Grab a pen right now because we are about to offer you this free book that unlocks the 5 little-known secrets we believe baby boomers and seniors should know before buying an annuity.
Call 800-793-9072 now.
And you'll receive a free copy of Josh Melberg's book, Next Gen Annuity Strategies Revealed. As a bonus, we'll also send you the #1 mistakes retirees are making with their investments today, and a free DVD on how you can get up to 33% more income in retirement.
Call 800-793-9072
to have your free information kit rushed to your door.
Again, that's 800-793-9072.
It's been 45 years since the first broadcast of Little House on the Prairie, and that series is still running today. Loyal fans are passing it down to their children and grandchildren, but for the first time, one of the cast members is writing about the faith behind the television classic.
Only a little more than 800 people live in Walnut Grove, Minnesota, but millions know and love this small town.
Walnut Grove is wonderful. The people here are so amazing.
Wendy Lou Lee plays a memorable role in the story still making this place famous.
Oh, you were going to wait until you're 18, young lady.
She's Baby Grace from Little House on the Prairie, the classic television series based on the pioneering life and writing of Laura Ingalls Wilder, who grew up here.
So you're Baby Grace from Little House on the Prairie. How does it feel?
I guess we're kind of used to it. It's been about 40 years, but being here in Walnut Grove, it's a little bit more real because you have all these people like doting over you and wanting to meet you and hug you. And yeah, I would say it's probably one of the greatest blessings of my life.
We sit down with Wendy at Walnut Grove's English Lutheran Church, where Pa's bell still rings in the tower, and just blocks from where countless fans gather to meet Wendy and other cast members, here for the show's milestone celebration, 45 years on the air.
I've seen you work so late on your homework, Halfpint. I'm proud of you.
It's not exactly homework, Pa.
Oh, in that case, I'm not so proud of you. What are you doing?
I'm trying to see how far this creek goes on the map.
Oh, I see.
There's no telling how far that bottle traveled before you found it.
I know.
You gotta remember, too, there's a whole bunch of little creeks that lead into that one.
Places around town like Plum Creek are also popular spots for fans of the series.
Little House on the Prairie shined a bright spotlight here on tiny Walnut Grove for 9 seasons. That's some 210 episodes and even thousands more life lessons, many of them still relevant today.
What cost $15 that I need?
Well, maybe you don't need anything right away. If I were you, I'd just put the money in the bank and let it collect some interest. Then if you see something you want, you take out as much money as you need.
Yeah.
So why do you think it is 45 years after the show, it is still running, people are still talking about it and watching it? Why?
People are starving for family values and faith-filled content. I think people might say that they don't want that or need that, but that's what draws people in.
That's why Baby Grace is turning those Little House lessons into a book, a prairie devotional.
My husband actually gave me the idea probably about 10 years ago. We're watching Little House on the Prairie and he said, you should write a Little House on the Prairie devotional. And I was like, ha, that's funny. I thought it was a really good idea, but I didn't have the confidence. I thought somebody else would probably do a really good job at that. And it wasn't until 3.5 years ago when I found out that I had a brain tumor that I actually started writing. Wow. And it started out as a blog just to inform people of my health and what was happening. And it became this.
Almighty God, who has blessed the land that it should be fruitful, and bring forth whatsoever is needful for the life of man.
Fond memories of her life on set is also where Wendy found comfort during the more difficult times of her illness.
When I found out, the first thing I thought, I was like, what are you doing, God? Not why, but what are you going to do with this? And I thought, I think God's going to give me a story. And that was a little scary because I still wasn't very confident in myself, like to put myself out there like that. Mm-hmm. Brain surgery was the greatest gift that God ever gave me. And it's changed my life forever.
It's a story she shares with fans, praying her real life reflects God's grace above any other role.
Coming up, what happens when Tim Tebow makes a birthday wish? Stay with us.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call right now, 800-596-8445, 800-596-8445, 800-596-8445. That's 800-596-8445.
Got an idea for an invention? Don't know what to do next? Call my friends at InventHelp.
InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. You can meet with an InventHelp representative who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. And InventHelp's databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to review new ideas, like yours.
Are you ready to put InventHelp in your corner?
Call now, 800-747-0668.
Have you written a book and want it published? Page Publishing cuts through the confusion of copyright protection, barcodes, and digital rights. We print and digitize your book and place your book for sale online and in bookstores everywhere. Most publishers won't even look at new author submissions. We're different. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From editing to cover design, we get you published.
Call for your free author submission kit at 800-310-0804.
Tim Tebow turns 32, and at least 150 Filipino children in need will receive life-changing surgeries as a result. He took to Facebook to tell about the Tebow Cure Hospital and his birthday wish to raise enough money to help the children. Family, friends, and fans responded in a big way, and Tebow made another post.
What's up, guys? I just want to make this video to say thank you so much for your support for our fundraiser for my 32nd birthday. You're just so incredible. Thank you for believing in us. Thank you for partnering with us. Together, we reached our goal and some, over $150,000, and it's still coming in, and we're just so grateful. That means more than 150 kids are going to have life-changing surgery at the Tebow Cure Hospital. We're just so grateful. Thank you for believing in us and for partnering with us. It truly means the world to me, and I'm just so humbled. So thank you so much, guys. God bless every single one of you.
Tebow grew to fame in football, playing college ball with the Florida Gators and receiving the Heisman Trophy. His faith developed at a young age, born perfectly healthy in the Philippines, despite doctors expecting him to be stillborn. Due to a near-deadly illness his mother suffered while she was pregnant, his family moved back to Florida when he was 3. He was later diagnosed dyslexic. All these experiences, of course, shaped the young athlete who is known for his giving heart, especially for helping children with special needs, and with his foundation as well as the hospital. Time now for your Thursday Thankful, and today I leave you with this prayer of gratitude. God, thank you for loving me beyond my flaws, to the point that you don't see them as flaws at all. With that word and prayer, I hope you'll make today a thankful Thursday indeed. That is a wrap for this first edition of CBN News Watch. Remember that you can see CBN News all the time on the CBN News Channel. You can also reach out and let us know what you think about the stories you've seen today by emailing newswatch@cbn.com. You can also always reach us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thanks for watching. We'll see you right back here same time tomorrow. Goodbye, everybody.